Hello, my name is Keith Haswell and I'm a professional astrologer with 40 years experience in the business, over 30,000 clients worldwide now. It's my pleasure to welcome you to my website and to my teachings. Now this is just a short video to impress upon you some of the things that I've learned along the way, and also to speak with you personally, one-on-one, to say to you that I haven't always been a professional astrologer, and I haven't always believed in the spiritual side of life. I haven't always believed in God up until the age of 30, which was 40 years ago, and that makes me 70 now. So I reckon I don't look too bad for a 70-year-old. So meditation does the world for you. But that's just being a little bit cheeky to get you relaxed. Look, I didn't believe in God, and I didn't believe in astrology. I didn't believe in life after death or any of these things up until the age of 30. I was atheistic in my thinking. And then my wife dumped a book in my lap on astrology. The reason why I was atheistic in my thinking is because the evidence of God just wasn't there to me. And the evidence of design and things like that, I never really thought about that. Science had a very profound impact on me, and they seemed to be quite right, because the Bible was saying that everything was created 6,000 years ago on day one or something like that, and there they are digging up fossils that are millions of years old. And I couldn't really take to a God of the religions, a God that was a vindictive God and a vengeful God, and the one who punished people in hell forever and so forth because of a few sins in life and so forth. So I couldn't swallow the line of the religious philosophies of the world. And so atheism was a natural way of thinking for me. But then when my wife dumped a book in my lap on astrology in 1974, and I read up on the sign Scorpio, I'm intelligent enough to be able to say, gee, that seems a lot like me. And I thought to myself, if there's any truth whatsoever in this astrology business, it changes the whole scheme of things. It means that the planets are not just blobs of matter, as science says, that can have no impact at all upon us as human beings here on Earth, that they are somehow the hands of a cosmic clock. And if the movement of the planets can create the timing of events in our life, it puts design in the universe in a big way. And so I thought it's worthy of investigation, because I can't just let that go by, the impact that reading up on my sun sign has had upon me, and the impact that these spiritual truths have had upon me in my life. Since that time, I was an alcoholic up until then, and since then I've never had a drink, since 1974, and never had a smoke. So the changes that it brings about within yourself through understanding about the design in the universe, and therefore a designer there. Look, it would be tragic, I feel, if you came to my website and just had your horoscope done and were only interested in the mundane affairs of the events and conditions in your life, and oh yeah, a little bit of interest, a little bit of a laugh, and oh, this is correct or that was not correct or whatever. It would just be tragic if I wasn't able to make an impression upon you sufficiently to have you say, yes, I'm intelligent, and I think that this is worthy of investigation. Because look, the wonders of astrology are incredible. It's the most scientific presentation of occult truth in the world today. And you know, I mean, if I can tell you you've got Mars in the 3rd house, and that gives you a scar on the hand or the arm from a cut, burn or a scald, or you've got Mars in the 2nd house and that gives you a scar on the lower part of the face or the neck, or you've got a scar on the head of the face because you got Mars in the first house, or you've got a scar on the lower part of the leg because you got Mars in the 11th house, or a scar on the foot because you got it in the 12th house, or a scar on the knee because you got it in the 9th house. These parts of the horoscope rule parts of the body, and if I can tell you, because Mars is in a certain house, that gives you a scar on a part of your body, and you've got a scar there, that has a big impact upon you. And if I can say to you that you've got Saturn in the 4th house, and that brings about the early death of one of your parents, or you've got Saturn in the 2nd house, and that brings a lot of frustrations with money, that you've got Saturn in the 3rd house, and that brings troubles with communication, difficulties in expressing yourself and putting your point across. You've got Saturn in the 6th house, and that brings periods of unemployment and difficulties with the job. You've got Saturn in the 7th house, and that brings troubles in relationships and a breakup in marriage or delayed marriage. Or I tell you that you've got Jupiter in the 3rd house, and that means that you have relatives who live distantly from you. Or you've got Jupiter in the 4th house, and that means that you live overseas at some time in your life. You've got Jupiter in the 2nd house, and that brings you a lot of money. Or you've got Jupiter in the 10th house, and that means that you're able to go into business for yourself. Or you've got Jupiter in the 11th house, and you have a lot of friends who are born overseas. These planets have impact. And look, if you just came along to my website and had your horoscope number 1 done, and then left it at that, and I'm telling you a few things from a very minute part of astrology, simply the signs on the cusp of each of your houses and the movements of the transits through the houses, that would be so sad if you just left it at that. Because by having your horoscope number 2 done for only $10, and I'm happy to do some of them free of charge if you've got certain things in your horoscope and you're keen to learn. Then I can tell you where your sun is in which house, where the moon is in each house, and that rules your emotions, where your Mercury is and that rules your mind, where Venus is and that rules your love nature, where Mars is and that rules your sex drive and your energy levels, where Jupiter is and that rules your good luck and good fortune, where Saturn is in your horoscope and that rules your practicality and your limitations, where Uranus is and that rules this, and Neptune rules that, and Pluto rules. Look, these are things that you need to know. And by having your horoscope number 2 done, or better still, your horoscope number 3, where I'm able to use the progressions and things like that and tell you a number of things that have happened in the past with specific timing of those events, and then make predictions about the future. Imagine what it means to you if I say to you that you had a change in job in October 2013, or that you had a accident on the road in August 2012, or you had the death of a relative, or the illness of a relative, or you had a journey overseas at this time or that time. What sort of impact does that have upon you? So isn't it worth a little bit of money that I'm asking to have that $10 horoscope done, to have your horoscope number 3 done, or whatever the price is for it at that particular time? So, I mean, this is where you can really get into the wonders of astrology as far as your life is concerned. And what does that do for you? It says to you that there is design in the universe, and that all these planets are not just there as blobs of matter, as science so bombastically tells us. It means that the planets are there by design, and they're all moving, and they have impact in your life, and that has impact upon you when you find out about these things. And then you say to yourself, well, that puts design in the universe. That means there's a designer there. And that means that you then have a chance. I want to find out what that designer is all about, because that designer obviously has plans for my particular lifetime. And how can I become more successful? And then through getting into my intensives, you can learn about meditation. And you can look as good as me at the age of 70 through 40 years of meditation. I'm a bit cheeky, but anyway, it's a fun thing. But doesn't cost too much to have your horoscope done, and then you find out, yes, these things have happened in my past, and I do have a scar here, and I do have relatives who live distantly from me, and I do have problems in the sexual side of life, and I have had breakups in relationships, and I have had this and I have had that, and that has impact upon you. The wonders of astrology are just there for you to reap, and it would be so sad if you just had your horoscope number 1 done, where I'm telling you a fraction of what astrology can tell you, and then you wandered away into the blue again, not to know what sort of impact that astrology could have really had you delved further, and what sort of changes that can make in your life. Because the changes that it can make in your life, when you learn about meditation, you can learn how to process all of those negative emotions inside of yourself that are creating havoc in your life. Those attitudes and beliefs and those thoughts and those feelings that are there deeply ingrained within your subconscious mind, that are in fact creating all of the events of your life. I'll prove it to you beyond any reasonable doubt by going through my intensives, that every single event that happens in your life happens according to law, and happens according to the raw materials that you've got inside of yourself. No one is doing it to you. God and Goddess are not there pulling strings and saying, you've been naughty, so you're going to be punished here or punished there. They've put laws in place that are all embodied within the planets, and these laws have impact in your life through your choices and your decisions, either conscious or subconscious. Isn't it much better to make the decisions consciously instead of having the events of your life created subconsciously through your negative beliefs and attitudes and thoughts and feelings? Isn't it better to be able to process them in the science of meditation, transform them into positive attitudes and positive beliefs, positive thoughts and positive feelings, so that they can sponsor more positive choices and decisions that you make in life? Because you're the one making the choices and the decisions about what the events are that are happening in your life. But so many of those decisions are made on subconscious levels that you're not aware of. It's time to become more conscious. It's time to become more conscious so that you can be in the box seat, in the power base that you have the right to. God and Goddess have given you the ability to create all of the events of your life through conscious choice. But if you want to just go along in the world of pain and fear and anxiety and doubt and insecurities in life, and you want to wallow in that all your life, you go ahead. I'm not here to stop you. I'm not here to shove anything down your throat that you don't want. I'm only here to say, look, there's a better way. There's a better life. You can delve deeply into these things and you can change your life. You can transform your life. What does it do for you when you delve into reincarnation and find out that it is work? It does work. What does it do for you when you find out that reincarnation is a law in nature? I'll prove it to you 100%. To your conscious, intelligent mind. You're intelligent. It's time to research these things. There's a new dispensation on the way. There's a new paradigm on the way. And science itself is part of that paradigm, and proving that we all create our own reality through the power of our consciousness. Through quantum physics, they prove that. But look, I don't want to go on forever here. This is just supposed to be a brief video to say to you, get your horoscope number 2 done by me, or the horoscope number 3 if you can afford it, and get that impact that astrology makes upon you, so that it gives you the motivation to then get into my intensives. And once you've paid for horoscope number 3, that covers you for all of my 3 intensives. There's nothing more to pay. And then you become more of the giant that you truly are. You become more of the goodness, truth and beauty that is deeply there inside of yourself, instead of the fear and the anxiety and the doubt and the insecurity and the low self-esteem and the self-sabotage and habit patterns that are destructive to your health and everything. Look, it's time for a new dispensation. It's time for you to fall head over heels in love with God, Goddess, all that is, who are right there to be your partner whenever you're ready. So good luck and join me in this wonderful quest to become more of the giant that you truly are. And we can all have some fun together, more fun creating more positive events and conditions in your life. I thank you for your attentiveness here. Thank you.